I actually expect Kung Fu Panda to run through the picture now with this music.
I can't believe I don't remember what I wanted to ask you. It's driving me crazy now. It was so important too.
Maybe you have to rewatch the last game in order to remember. But one thing is for sure, this is game number 2, not game number 1. And on the bottom right of the map, in the red is our Zerg player. Up ahead, 1-0. This is
Empire Violet.
He played so well in the last game, and wow, I really thought that if he doesn't scout the base to the bottom left for like another 30 seconds, suddenly MVP has a really significant Viking count and can win the game.
Well, speaking of him, his ideas.
AJM MVP.
All right, Street Fighter boys, do you feel better now that I humored you? Did you really need to intro him after Cal already said his name?
You did that so well.
I just had to do it, you know. I feel like if I don't do it, he's like, well, what do I even have a job for? Why do I say these names over and over in the exact same voice? Well, I think MVP is going to 2 racks. Well, he's not actually making a second barracks. No, I'm wrong. I'm mistaken. When he made his first barracks there, I thought maybe...
Oh, the drone scouts and just misses the barracks. It's like, well, something's wrong. He actually... Well, I think he counted the SCVs, but still. Well, you might expect some kind of aggression here.
With this SCV coming down, he might have thought it was Command Center first, but it's not going to be the case. And yeah, he probably expects aggression. Now we'll just be very careful, sending a drone down early, prematurely, make sure he's not being bunkered right now. And we will just see a regular 1 racks expand from MVP. Nothing out of the ordinary. Double drones, he is really concerned about this. As he should be based on what he's seen, yeah.
Do you remember the last game against Squirtle at the GSL final? I would be really, really scared with the scouting information that he has at this point. I would look everywhere.
And double gassing now. Well, likely, I feel we're going to see the same Banshee Hellion type play in this game. It was the classic style, as you said. I think that's a really good way to put it. I like to call it the Pult build. Pult was always doing it. Back when I was casting DreamHack, Thorzane was doing it a little bit as well. Really popular build.
We have a lot of links for the early game, and this works so well for MVP. He hit his barracks, and so far Violet does not exactly know what's going on. He knows that there's not going to be like a bunker rush, but at the same time it could still be a push. So he builds a lot of Zerglings. He tries to be a little bit aggressive with them as well, but builds those queens. So at this point it's just like sacrificing a lot of lava.
Yeah.
You can put them to some good use, you can be aggressive, and the thing is that MVP has to be careful here. He does not have control over the Xel'Naga Watchtower, so he might not see this coming. I don't think he will. If those Zerglings, how many do we have in total? Is it 8? Yeah, we have 8 in total. If they attack and get a good hold on these Marines...
It could be devastating. That's why a lot of players have been making that bunker on the low ground. You know, it's one of many reasons, but... he's actually, just going to have to run into his main base here. He's pulling SCVs. He will hold this, but he's losing a lot of mining time as a result.
Exactly. He's holding it, but he loses mining time.
This
but
is
MVP,
so cool.
MVP did this very, very well. He used a small amount of his SCVs in order to defend against the Zerglings, and at the same time, he just sent them over to the natural.
Violet I just like how hardly any Zergs do this. So, as a result, MVP doesn't make the bunker. So, as a result, Violet's like, well, people aren't making bunkers now, so I'm going to do this, and it's just so cool. I love to see people change things up like this.
Starboard is building as the bunker is being built on the low ground, actually in the small corner tucked away. And of course Violet has to respond with 1 spine crawler at least. He scouted, he saw the reactor at the factory, so it's inevitable to just get at least 1 spine crawler to be able to defend a bit against the aliens.
Yeah, he has to.
The one thing that he has to remember though is that quite often Zerg players tend to think about those spine crawlers as their as a thing to go to, their go-to building as when they face like a Hellion opening. But they have a sense of false safety if they rely on it too heavily. We've seen it over and over again that Terran players just went into the main base with 4 Hellions, 6 Hellions, and took down the entire worker line. So he has to be really careful about how he's going to approach this. And what is this Overlord doing here?
Bad rally. Roach Warren is finishing up. We see MVP is doing the same build as he did last time. Full build, getting the Banshees out, continuing to Reactor Hellions out. He's been spotted now with this Overlord in his main base. He's going to send his Marines back, and they will kill that as well. Further frustrating Violet, but he got the information he needed. He's continuing to check for that 3rd hatchery. He knows the rocks are being destroyed, but he doesn't know if the hatch is there. He wants to at least burn it a little bit.
Another Overlord is going to die. He's losing a lot of Overlords here.
Yep.
Yeah, that Overlord just wishes he was as fast as a flying barracks, but no, not yet.
Not yet.
Well, I have no idea what Blizzard is planning for the future, but they had some crazy ideas so far. Starting Queens with 15 energy, so I don't know.
I feel like the question I wanted to ask you is related to the beta, because you played it and I didn't, and something about... something...
This is driving you mad, isn't
I was triggered of this thought based on you saying Blizzard in the future, and I don't know if I want to ask you a question that I think you know the answer to, or if I want to ask your opinion on something. It's driving me crazy, man, but this Banshee pressure is really, really tough to hold. I mean, we saw this last game.
Yeah.
Even with Roaches, it's like, well, do you fight the Hellions? Because I have a Banshee there. He doesn't cancel that spine either, loses the drone.
He's exploiting the fact that it's really hard for a Zerg player to get anti-air at this stage of the game. You have the queens, but you want to keep your queens close to the hatches because you need them for the transfuse. Even if you have additional queens, in this case Violet doesn't have too many, he has only 3, so that doesn't help him. But yeah, that's basically just trying to exploit it to make sure that the Hellions are backed up by a Banshee, are backed up by air units.
I'm a little bit surprised he's not making additional queens right now. Especially after selling the Banshee. But he's going to clean up these flings, and the Banshee can continue to damage the Roaches. This is... I don't think this is smart by Violet, in fact, to try to catch these Hellions.
No, this is actually not smart at all. He's going to lose at least 2 Roaches. That's Roach number 2 dying. And
he hasn't even really gained any creep from this.
He didn't actually gain anything, I think. Did he kill 1 Hellion?
Yeah, I think 1.
But he lost all of his Zerglings, so this is like really... This is bad. This is something that he should not have done. He should have stayed on creep, not trying to follow the Hellions, and just kept to the queens.
Right.
He had 2 queens over there, 2 and 1, and just trying to play it a little bit safer, making sure that those Hellions are not able to kill the creep tumors, but at the same time not moving off creep.
You know what's scary is that Violet does not know that MVP is meching.
Yeah, he does not know about the
He's got Roaches, but he's getting Baneling speed right now. He is getting Roach speed as a possibility, you know, knowing the possibility of mech, and he's now going to see it. Sees the Thor, sees multiple factories, that's all he needs to know. And from here, you can switch on the Roach production, which he has. 8 Roaches already being produced. Viking going to have to run away.
After hitting his lair tech, he did not only get the upgrade for Roach speed though, but he also started with his Overlord drop ability. And this is something that is really... The one thing about the Overlord drop is we saw that occasionally on Antigua Shipyard that a Zerg player that is confronted with mech will just try to exploit this by dropping Roaches into the main base, a huge drop in the main base, and this can do so much damage. So if Violet is actually doing this, that could potentially kill all of MVP's production. I'm just thinking about it right now, and
you
it's
know,
like...
we saw yesterday Bomber had to deal with Roach drops on top of his army, his mech army. That's something that we could see as well. Oh, that Banshee barely surviving there. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if he loses his production, that's something it takes forever to rebuild. And the Overlord drops are nearly done. He's just now getting +1 for his Roaches. MVP, as far as I know, though, did not research any armor upgrades. Okay, yeah, he did get 1-1. I'm actually crazy. I was like, I could have sworn he had double armories. And his refinery was canceled, as you guys saw earlier. He still not started. Okay, there it is.
Yeah.
Everything I say, like, turns to dust.
Look at the timing here. The speed started for the Overlords at exactly the right time. They will finish roughly at the same time, speed and drop. And he has the Roaches to the left. If he drops into the main base, how many turrets are there? Does he have turrets?
He's got 2 on the way, and they're on the edge of his base for this
Why?
reason, as well as a Viking.
Why is he getting turrets? I mean, it's awesome for MVP, but what triggered this reaction?
Just a fear of roach drops.
Yeah,
I mean, roach
know.
drops are becoming more common. I don't know what this Queen thinks she's doing, though.
Do you really think he anticipates roach drops, or does he think there might be a Mutalisk play again?
I think he anticipates roach drops. After seeing that mech play and seeing the Thors already out, there's no way anyone would ever build Mutas against that. It's just too risky. I think he just expects... He knows, as you know, that the potential for roach drops is there. You saw them yesterday. They're becoming more popular in Korea for sure. I've seen them in a lot of online tournaments as well. And we're going to see them on top of the army, just like yesterday.
But he should try to lead with 1 or 2 empty Overlords, which he does not do.
I'm worried, man. MVP is down 60 supply here, and he does not have a ton of defense in play.
It's just with Mech that he's playing now. He needs to get this huge army. And whoa, these siege tanks. Ah! Here we go. He's dropping, he's going in, he's trying to make it happen, dropping them roaches, and the siege tanks, they die. What about the Thors? Where are the SCVs? They try to repair, but it's too... It is...
That's
what
it,
is
man.
happening?
He did not have enough units.
It is like, boom, he just dies. MVP just dies.
He died with a snap of the fingers, man, and that's it.
Wow.
GG.
He tries to repair, but there's no SCVs around on a Thor. There's nothing. Violet, he spots this, he goes in, he drops on the tanks, kills the Thors. He micros his unit perfectly. As soon as they drop out of the Overlord, he starts to focus with them. And MVP, he's last in the group.
Yep, last in the group. Will not be advancing this season.
And come on, Violet, don't pull a Corrine on me. At least cheer a little bit, smile, jump up. I don't know, but he just defeated.
It's not time yet.
He just defeated the champion.
He did, but it's not time yet, man. He still has one more win to get, and it is going to be against Liquid Tasia. If he can beat Liquid Tasia, it's going to be, of course, his advancement. But he just beat somebody who he probably perceives, as most of the world perceives, as a stronger player than Tasia. So he's got to be feeling pretty comfortable going into this final match.
Yeah, he absolutely... he has to, but still...
And he beat both styles. He beat regular Marine Tank and he beat Mech.
He saw what MVP was doing. He went for the roaches, he went for the drop, and it was just so well done. He dropped on top of the army. MVP, he kind of saw it coming. He did not react in time. He had a couple of siege tanks that were just walking down the ramp. But everything, the way that he split his siege tank, the only thing that Violet had to do was dropping on top of them. The Thors were not in a position where they could attack the Overlords before they actually arrived. He had the Viking to the left, not to the right.
I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I was like, when you said, like, the word detecting in StarCraft just turned my head into a cloak. I'm like, but he wasn't, like, using burrowed roaches. Like, when you said that, I was like, I couldn't even save you. I was like, what is he saying? Like, he couldn't detect. And then I was like, and then you were like, Overlords. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, right. But my brain, like, actually just ran in a hamster wheel for a minute while you were saying that. And
it does it a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, man, it does.
No,
especially
the thing
today.
Is, I was just surprised of how well that worked for Violet. How he just defeated MVP with 2-0. And I did not really anticipate it, especially because, as I pointed out earlier, Violet recently he struggled a little bit against Terran. Historically speaking, it's his best matchup. Of course, statistics can only bring you this far, but if you have a look at his recent match history against Terran, this is the matchup where he did not play like bad. He's an amazing player, so of course in every single matchup he plays really, really strong. But if you compare it to his matchup against Zerg or against Protoss, this is the one where he often struggle a little bit.
He seems to have a weak point here. So, but I mean, he's back in Korea. Do you know where he's staying? In fact, because I do not. He might be staying with MVP because he was a former MVP player. I don't actually know where he's staying, but. You know, clearly he's here. Maybe
parents?
He's practiced. Yeah, he's either staying with MVP or possibly his parents. But wherever he's staying, man, he's fixed this. It looks like he's prepared well for this match. He's back in Korea, and he's going to be in potentially in the round of 8. Do
you think Tasia is afraid now, or is Tasia actually happy that he doesn't have to face MVP again?
That's a good question.
We find out, guys, after 5 minutes. We have the last match for today. We will see Violet face Tasia. Don't go anywhere. This is the GSL Code S with Calvin Wolf.